The revenge game. Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway return to Edmonton in a different shade of blue. We get you set for the Oilers and the Blues right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola with you alongside YouTube Trev. Joaquin Gage is our game analyst tonight as we get you set for the Oilers at the St. Louis Blues. First of three meetings this season between these two clubs. Yes, indeed, Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway make their return. Text us, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. Subscribe. We're trying to get to 11,000. So Dusty he eats pickled herring. Maybe drinks the juice. Gross. But if you want to see it, hit that subscribe button if you don't already. And if you're on your way to the game, listening on your drive over, we appreciate you. And if you're watching, maybe you're saddled up with a beverage, nice and cozy, and away we go, because GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. YouTube Trev back at ESTHQ. What's going on, Trev? Welcome back. Hello, there he is. He's being clutch.
Tommy.
Hey, buddy, look at that formidable mustache.
Oh, yeah. It's November is over, but this mustache ain't going anywhere. It's going good. It's going good today, Tommy. Had a pretty good day. I was able to watch the Buffalo Sabres and the Utah Hockey Club. Two former Oilers in that one, Michael Kesselring, while he was in the Oilers system. And then, obviously, you got Ryan McLeod. So, two Oilers there, and then we get to see two Oilers tonight at Rogers Place. Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, who are having pretty good seasons. I've been watching, I will say, I've never actually looked forward to watching a Blues game, and I've actually watched quite a bit, more than I've ever could have imagined in previous years. But I've watched these guys quite a bit this season, so it's been fun to watch them. I've also, I don't know, there's this thing, once Oilers go elsewhere, I like keeping in tabs with what those players do. It followed with Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle. I always love keeping in tabs with these guys. So they've had some pretty good seasons there, Tommy. We're going to be talking quite a bit about these players and a return. How will the return be? Will they get booed? Will they get cheered on?
So.
I think they're getting booed.
I think they're getting booed as well. But and I'm glad you bring this up, because, or not the booing specifically, but watching former Oilers and how they do with their new clubs, because I think that leads us to the question of the night, Trev, which you have the honors, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, the question of the night. We talked about it all season long, or I guess off season, and it was very interesting. Where the question of the night? Where is my question of the night? Oh, well, look at that. I can't find it.
You rattled it off to me very, very eloquently beforehand.
Yes, I did, and I cannot find it. Anyway, I should be able to wing it here, but with the start of the season of Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, you look at Philip Broberg, who's got 2 goals, 10 assists, 12 points in 15 games played. Dylan Holloway, he's got 8 goals, 8 assists, 16 points in 27 games played. If you were on the fence about it in the summer, has this changed your mind with what they've been able to do this season thus far? What we know now, does this change your mind? Would you have wished that the Oilers would have matched the offer sheets tendered in the offseason to Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg? That's the question.
I'll take a stab at that one. Please. No, that's good. I like it. Text us 780-218-9999 to share your thoughts on the question of the night. After seeing what we have so far with the Broberg and Holloway in St. Louis, do you wish the Oilers matched that offer for both guys? I think the answer here is yes, at least from my point of view. I would certainly like to see both guys on the team this year. I was looking forward to seeing both guys on this Oilers team this season. Curious to see how they would grow and progress. Obviously, they were ready to take the next step, both of them. I think it's safe to say that. And I think it would have been a benefit to the Edmonton Oilers. Do I think that Dylan Holloway now would be much better impact player for the Edmonton Oilers than Jeff Skinner? Yep, absolutely. Did we know at the time that this would be the case? No. But, I really, really think that I would say yes. You'd want them to have matched both guys. Do I think it's realistic, though, for both guys to have been matched by the Oilers? And that's where my answer has to change. It's no. I think Holloway, likelier of the two, and I would have preferred if it was him. And I say that because Broberg, I think, was, and I could kind of tell seeing him around the room, talking to him here and there every now and then, you got a sense that he was not happy. And that trade request that came from his agent last season is an indicator of that. And so the short answer is yes, but when you dive into the minutia, Holloway, I think, would have been more realistic than Broberg, because Broberg, I think, had a foot out the door, let's call it. And I don't think Oilers fans, and at least remembering texts and feedback we got on our shows at the time during that week of limbo, let's call it, wanted to pay Philip Broberg $4.58 million a year for the next 2 years.
Yes, I agree with you, Tommy. In a dream world scenario, you obviously want to keep these guys, but the Oilers, they're in a cap crunch, very, very much so. And so obviously they couldn't really make it work. But in a league that's only getting younger and faster, the Oilers decided to go a little slower and older. So it's interesting. But I mean, just from watching what Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway have been able to do, Philip Broberg being back, I think this will be his third or fourth game back from injury there. He's looked good, man. He's looked really good. Like, I've watched quite a few of their games, and he does nothing crazy fancy, but the safe play every single time, just the right play. Like, it's very seldom you see him cough up the puck or make a mistake. And he's just so calm, and that confidence is really showing in the NHL level right now. And he's thriving in the Blues organization. So you'll be able to watch that tonight. And then as for Dylan Holloway, I've been big on this guy. I was big on both these guys, Tommy. I really liked, just when they were drafted, I was like, okay, I like these decisions a lot. But Dylan Holloway, as we saw in 2 preseasons in a row for the Oilers, the puck just seemed to follow him. Like, that was like the one thing I noticed, watching him in those preseasons. The puck just followed him, and he's just in the right place at the right time, but he knows what to do as well. Like, he's a highly skilled player. He's physical, he's fast, and he's got really good hands and tight. That's also what I've been able to watch. He's been doing that even more so for the Blues this year, and it's been crazy to watch, man. So, we'll be able to watch it tonight, but I still wish they would have done it. But obviously,
I understand. I totally understand. All right, share your thoughts on Broberg and Holloway, and if you wish they would have matched them, seeing what we've seen so far this season. All right, we're going to quickly get to the starting lineups, and then our injury report, and then Joaquin Gage, standing by, our game analyst, will provide us with game changers. We begin with the Oilers. This is how they practiced yesterday. They had McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Kapanen, Henrique between Janmark and Skinner, and then Ryan with Perry and Brown. Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson. There was a bit of a rotation yesterday. Of course, Travis Dermott being the extra blue liner. This is what we're anticipating from St. Louis tonight. If anything changes, we will update you. Robert Thomas between Jake Neighbors, former Oil King, and Pavel Buchnevich. Good to hear Neighbors on with Reed and Jay yesterday. Great interview if you haven't checked it out. Braden Shen between Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou. Oscar Sundquist with Brandon Saad and Zach Bolduc on his wings. Then you've got Radek Faksa centering Alexei Toropchenko and Nathan Walker. Mike, former Oiler, Aussie, still kicking it in the NHL. On the Blues blue line tonight, Philip Broberg with Colton Parayko, Ryan Suter with Matthew Kessel, and then Justin Falk on the left side with Scott Perunovich lining up on the right. Alexander Texier is the scratch, or anticipated scratch. That brings us to starting goalies for the Oilers. 26-year-old Stu Skinner, 8-7-2, 297, GA 889, save percentage. Ooh, those averages are getting a little bit better. 1 shutout in 17 games this season. Skinner versus the Blues in 5 appearances against them in his career. 2-1-2 record, 270 GA, 914 save percentage in those 5 games. And at the other end of the rake, it is the Canadian goaltender for the Four Nations face-off, Jordan Binnington, 31-year-old, 8-9-2 record, 287 goals against average, 900 save percentage, 1 shutout on the season in 20 games played. Binnington versus the Oils, 6-2-1 mark, 277 GA, 907 save percentage with a shutout in 10 appearances. And that brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report, where at Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. For the Oilers, Victor Arvidsson, IR undisclosed. Vander Kane, IR, abdominal surgery. As for the Blues, Nick Leddy, IR, lower body. Torrey Krug, IR, ankle. That is your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999, and get into the nasty chat. If you happen to be watching, hit that subscribe button. We know like 30% of our viewers, not listeners, viewers are not subscribed. So we ask that you do as we march towards 11,000 subscriptions. Let's bring him in. He's ready to rock. Joaquin Gage, our analyst, looking good with that EST cap on. Nice and cozy at home in his satellite studios. Gager, how you doing today, pal?
I'm good, boys. Good, Tommy. It was nice to speak with you this afternoon. It's always nice to get a Tom Gazzola fix in the afternoon. That was great. Just kind of excited. I was at the dog park. It didn't go as well as it usually does.
What happened?
My dog misbehaved a little bit, but it was it was nice to get out, and I was excited for tonight's game.
Well, you should be. It feels like there's a good energy. The weather's great. I'm sure the dog park was it a bit sloppy at the dog park? And then
it wasn't too bad, actually.
Okay.
Like you'd think that it would be like a little slushy, but no, it was packed down pretty hard, so it was fine. No muddy paws. Let's just say that.
That's important. So was there discipline for your pup?
Yeah, he found a boxer that he really liked for some reason, and they were playing, and it was great. But then the guy walking the boxer got ahead of me because I was at a moseying pace, I would say, Tommy.
Okay.
Where's my dog? And I could see him up in the distance, and he was kind of harassing. Well, not harassing, but just being a little bit too playful with this dog. So I grabbed him and waited for a bit, like you normally do, and waited till he they got ahead, and we started walking again. He raced up and started playing again, and so I grabbed him again, and because he was going on a different trail. So I start walking with my dog for a little bit, and then I notice he's kind of stopped, and I look at him, and I go, "Come on, let's go." And he looks back, looks forth, looks back, and then he tears off back towards that boxer. So it took me another 20 minutes to go grab him from this. So it wasn't an enjoyable. He was on the leash the rest of the way. Let's just say that.
He earned it. But I'm sure he was excited. He's having a Saturday too, Gager. He's having a Saturday.
Yeah, he's emotional too. You gotta give it to him. He saw the performance of Leonard. Mm-hmm. Right. A lot of dogs are a little bit jealous and fired up. So yeah, it's he wants some of the spotlight too, I guess.
I respect that very much. I really, really do. Okay, let's get to Game Changers with Joaquin Gage. Brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors, community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Joaquin, I like what you did with this one today. Number one, time to get to the quad. Explain.
Yeah, and go through the gymnasium, right, Tommy? I think that's where the route was. And what were they doing? They were, it was only a one-man streaking, but I think it's time for the Oilers to string more than the usual what we saw, like 3-game winning streak. Mm-hmm. This is a time to get on a little bit of a roll here. They have 9 games at home, Tommy, and home's kind of been a little bit of a bane for them. Like they haven't performed as good as home as on the road. Time to start, I would say, establishing this place as Rogers Place as the house of pain. You don't want teams coming in here feeling confident. You want, oh gosh, we got to try to go in there and take out 2 points. That's going to just have that seed of doubt even before they land in Edmonton, right? So. How do you do that? Especially teams have to be on point. It's been pretty good. I think the power play needs to get back to where it was. Well, it's hard to say, but a little bit better. Yeah. It was great at home last year, just those areas of strength that they can do. So, and really finish the 24 calendar year off strong.
You know what, Gage? 6-6-1 is the Oilers' record at home. You talk about the streaking. Let's go to the quad through the gymnasium. 2 3-game winning streaks for the Oilers and 3 2-game winning streaks. They won their last one. We'll see if they can extend it against a decent St. Louis club tonight. And then an opportunity with, I think it's Tampa coming in. Yeah, Tampa coming in to close out this 3-game homestand, a chance to go over 500 at home. Then they go to Mini for one. And then, like you said, a ton of home games, Vegas, Florida, Boston, San Jose, Ottawa. And then they go to Anaheim and LA for 2. Then they come home to wrap up the calendar year and the month against the Utah Hockey Club. So a chance to make some hay. Really quickly, with your experiences in the National Hockey League playing in Edmonton, is there something to why it can be tough to play at home, why it can be tough to play here? I mean, this group should have no issue considering what they've been able to accomplish over the last few years.
I find that sometimes with certain teams, there's the, I don't want to say pressure, but added motivation to perform at home and entertain the fans, right? That's where you see maybe the extra pass or an extra move that maybe you wouldn't normally do on a road game where you're getting in there and just grinding one out. You have to keep the same mentality. I don't know, with this team, they're the oldest team in the league. Like they've been in these situations before.
Yeah.
I think just the start of the season had a lot to do with that they didn't start the way that they wanted to. But in Edmonton, you can't fill up gas without someone telling you about what you got to do with the power play, right? So there is a little bit, of course, added pressure being in a Canadian market. But look, these guys have done it before.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting that confidence at home as you do on the road, I think.
Time to get to the quad, says Gager in point number 1 of Game Changers. Let's go to number 2. Team Canada snub, parentheses, extra, spelt incorrectly, motivation. Joaquin, I love what you did with this one.
That's like the thing that I want to see most is the game between the goaltenders, right? You're going to have Bennington at one end and Stu Skinner at, I think throughout the summer, if we were to all get together and talk about it, we would say, yeah, there's a really good possibility that Stuart Skinner's on this team. We all say, does he start? He could. It depends on the start of the season, I guess, but now he finds himself on the outside looking in, and maybe a little bit of a relief, Tommy. Like, okay, that's over. That doesn't even come into my thought process now. But you're looking down at the other end, and that's the guy they chose over you, right? So we've all watched The Last Dance, and I don't think it's always nice. Let's just say it. It's always nice to get a little bit extra motivation to kind of stick it to the other team. And this is a great opportunity for Stuart Skinner. Hockey night in Canada, 8:00. The 6:00 loggers are flowing like the North Saskatchewan right now, and it's going to be an exciting game, I think.
Well, you know that the 6:00 lager is made with that delicious North Saskatchewan water after it's cleaned by the fine folks at Epcor. And you know that 6:00 lager is on for $12.99 until the end of the month at Sobeys and Safeway Liquor. So, Joaquin, shameless plug, very well executed, my friend. Very well executed. I like that a lot. All right, it is Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Gagers says number 1, time to get to the quad. Number 2, Team Canada snub. Extra motivation in parentheses, no E on extra. Hello. And then number 3, Joaquin, can't have newcomers come in and steal the show.
Yeah, I mean, everyone will say if you talk, it's just another game. But Tommy, you and I know this is not just another game for these guys. If we could all get into that, be a fly on the wall in that St. Louis dressing room, there's the marker has a number beside both Holloway and Broberg's numbers with a certain dollar figure for probably the game winner and the win. It means a lot to these guys, right? These one with Holloway, I think his time in Edmonton differed from Broberg. Obviously, he was thrust into the lineup a little bit premature due to injury, but man, at the end of the year, both these guys. Well, and you look at Broberg being sent to the minors. You mentioned at the top of the show that he requested a trade. You saw the body language, wasn't too enthused, I would say. But these guys performed when it mattered most, and the Oilers put themselves in a situation where they left them open to these to some offer sheets, and the St. Louis Blues executed that perfectly.
Yeah,
it was a great move by them. We had Lou Korak on our show with Hernan Salas and myself, and he. I said, Hernan, we have to play this or just not play it at all because it's going to drive Edmonton fans crazy. But he gave the biggest glowing review, not only of Holloway, but really of Broberg. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically said that I can't believe Edmonton Oilers let this guy go. And just seeing his progression, I guess he's playing with Parenko now. They look really, really good together. But coming in, I'd like to see the Oilers just, finish their checks on some of these guys. It would be a great way to get the crowd into it. Trev said, I think the Boo Birds are coming out when they touch the puck. I'm sure of it. But if you can lay the boom on a couple of these guys with a good forward check or catch Holloway through the middle with a big hit, the roof's going to come off that place, right?
Yeah.
Use that type of things to get the crowd into it, get yourself into it. And let's try to make sure by the end of the night that those two guys don't show up on the scoreboard.
I think there will be boos tonight, and I think Oilers fans are hurt by it. I think Oilers fans generally understand the situation and recognize where management faltered in allowing or exposing themselves to the possibility of an offer sheet, and St. Louis stepped up with maybe a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge from the Oilers' former GM and president of hockey operations, who happens to be very close with the Blues general manager, Doug Armstrong. And we find ourselves in the situation that presents itself tonight. I like that you bring up the money on the board aspect. I'm always curious how much it is. I've asked Cass a couple of times. I don't really remember what the numbers are like, but what do you remember about money on the board nights? And like, what would guys say? How would they do it? Would there be like a little gather around everyone? I'm putting $5,000 up for the winner tonight. Like, what would it be like? Give us that scenario.
So it usually happens after warm-up. Does it? Or maybe before warm-up. I can't remember. It depended. But it was good because usually everyone's, your moments of before going out. So everyone's sitting there. And there might be subtle japs to a guy if he hasn't done it. Maybe that guy likes to, squeeze the nickel till the beaver poops a little bit. And so you're kind of saying, hey, the standard line, if you're playing against a team and the guy was there before, is, hey, Tommy, these guys didn't want you, right? So just a little bit of motivation. But then if there was no coaxing of a guy, he would just stand up and you'd see him walk to the board, and you'd get maybe a drum roll, or everyone's like, whoa, and then he'd write his name and put a dollar figure, and then a big cheer and some clapping or snaps around that showed. And then there might be another guy go up there and do it as well, and then another guy. So, and I've said this before, as a goalie, it drove me nuts. Like, because I'm not going to score the game winner here.
Right.
I'd have to score and then let one in. Right. So that's, probably not impossible in my case, but it was, it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those little galvanizing moments, it got, I saw some pretty good jackpots. I mean, not nothing in Vegas or anything like that, but let's just say it would be a really good night with you and I and Kelly's if we could take that home.
My goodness. That would be a lot of fun. We'll see if that motivates Broberg, Holloway, and the rest of the Blues tonight. The question of the night, YouTube Trev put it out there. I think it's a good time now to get it out there once again from Trev, if you want to hop on, Trev. And because I'm curious to hear what Joaquin has to say about this. So, Trev, feel free to let that one rip one more time.
Here, let's get this. Oh, I can't wait. I didn't have the camera set up there, so my apologies.
Unbelievable.
But I do have it here. Knowing what we know now, would you have liked to have seen the Oilers match the offer sheets on Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg?
Joaquin?
Of course. Looking what they've done. Again, with Lou talking about how glowingly that the progression of Philip Broberg, and even he also mentioned when Montgomery took over the team from Drew Bannister, there was a change in Dylan Holloway. There was a little bit more. Well, he got more ice time right away, and he threw out a number I think he played like 17 minutes. So he's and during an interview, I guess he heard like a bunch of pucks being hit against the glass or something, and someone said, "Who is that?" And they go, "I bet you it's Holloway. He's a hockey player." That's how Jim Montgomery referred to him, and sure enough. All the media went around the corner. Who was out there shooting and doing things and working on his game was Dylan Holloway, right? So, and I think those were qualities. Not that he wasn't a hard worker to begin with, but you saw him, Tommy, at practice for his time here. He was asking Leon how to do things and staying out and trying to get his game to a level that he was a consistent and relied upon NHL player. So, yeah, I mean, I know Trev was in tears. I remember when those offer sheets came in, but definitely just on the way the season's gone, and the youth of both these guys, and the possibility of them being Oilers for a longer period of time. I'm sure I'm not the only one in the camp. There'd probably be a lot of Oilers fans too that would say, yeah, probably should have matched that.
Here's the interesting thing, because we do have a poll up on the YouTube side of the show. And it says, do you wish the Oilers would have matched the offer sheets on both Broberg and Holloway? Right now, Joaquin, no leads with 52% of the vote. Interesting. Wow. Maybe that has to do with the dollars and the cap hit for both guys.
Could be. But look, I think Dylan Holloway has more points combined than Skinner and Arvidsson at this point, right? So I like the way that they're playing. From all accounts, they're coming into their own as NHLers. There was always that question mark, and back in the summer when they finally said nope, we're not matching, and part of me was like, okay, I understand it, because with Holloway, and with all due respect, there's a lot more Holloways on the hockey tree than there are Brobergs. And to me, I thought it would be more beneficial to have Broberg, just because the D-man that can play, over 20 minutes a night and be, really impactful players, they don't unfortunately grow on trees.
No.
And
good point.
But it was such a small sample size that you had with Broberg. And I just think that they thought, you know what, we don't really, although he was arguably one of the best players in the Stanley Cup Finals, they just didn't have enough track record, and decided to go in a different direction.
81 regular season games was the body of work for Philip Broberg prior to those playoff games. I know he got into the playoffs the year before as well. And you mentioned Holloway outscoring both Arvidsson and Skinner. Arvidsson has been out for, I think, 10 games now. Holloway, 16 points. That's tied for second on the Blues. He's averaging 15:30 time on ice per game. And then you've got Philip Broberg at 12 points, playing 20:38 time on ice on average. And he's just come back from injury a couple of games ago. You mentioned Jim Montgomery, Gager, and so far through 5 games behind the bench with St. Louis, 4-0-1 record. So the Oilers are trying to do something no other team has done so far. Small sample size, obviously, but they have not lost the Blues with Jim Montgomery as the bench boss in regulation. And when does the new coach bump wear off? And we're seeing more and more of this, like 20 games into a season. Good coaches are being like, oh, but Drew Bannister, very minimal experience as an NHL head coach. Did you play with Bannister too? Because he's kind of I guess he had a different method from what I understand.
Yeah, I played with Drew, not in Edmonton. We actually played in Europe together.
Okay.
And again, and I think it was Buchnevich. I don't know if you saw his interview, and it was right before Drew got let go. He kind of complained about the structure of their team, and Buchnevich kind of said that it was too defensive minded, and because they weren't scoring at all.
Right.
I think at the time, now that, I mean, it's, again, you mentioned it, small sample size, right? But I think they're scoring almost a goal more a game than they were under Drew Bannister. So, and I asked Lou about that too, and he said, you know what? He felt that even if Drew had these guys at 15-5 or whatever, and they were rolling, if Jim Montgomery became available, they would have pulled the trigger. That was Armstrong's guy to begin with. I think there was talk about it, because if the Bruins didn't get out of the first round last year, I think that they probably would have pulled the trigger or let Montgomery go then, and it would have made the St. Louis Blues decision a lot easier. But it's a hard business sometimes. I was kind of sad, because today I had it circled on my calendar, actually, Tommy, to go down to the rink and see my old buddy Drew, but I'll have to wait till his head rears up on some other team, I guess.
There's always Facebook and LinkedIn, Gager, or Instagram. The Blues, by the way, 259 goals for per game right now. That's 25th in the NHL. They allow 3.07 goals per game. That is, not good. That is 14th worst in the NHL. So I guess average. Edmonton's goals for per game, if you're wondering, has improved vastly in recent weeks. It's up to 16th in the NHL. That's at 3.0. And then the goals against is at 2.96. That is 22nd. Oh, well, it's getting better. So there you go. The Oilers improving in a lot of facets. Gager, fantastic work as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show, and hopefully your pup is he's good too. Maybe he brings you a beer during the game and surprises you. He might. Says, sorry, Dad, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, maybe I'll throw just like the little barrel, 6 o'clock lager barrel. He'll come over.
That's a good dog. That's a good dog. Gager, great stuff as always, my friend.
All right, buddy. Talk to you after.
All right, we'll see you on the post-game show. That is Joaquin Gage, our game analyst, in for Matt Cassian. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Let's get to some texts, and let's also get to some nasty chat stuff. And before that, I just want to mention my good friend Kevin Rapinos over at the Oilers sent an email saying, hey, Tom, just a friendly reminder that the final day for the 50-50 draw in support of Kids with Cancer Society and the Ben Stelter Foundation is today, and the jackpot has now eclipsed $1 million. They also have a holiday bonus jackpot that is now at $279,000, and we also there's a $500 SO draw that happened at 1 o'clock. They're going to give away 2 tickets to the January 13th game versus the Kings, $1,000 cash draw at 9:30. And then a $2,500 Richardson's Jewelry gift card at 10 o'clock. So I tweeted it out with a link if you want to get in on there, buy a ticket or some tickets. And the draw in support of Kids with Cancer Society and the Ben Stelter Foundation. So 2 fantastic causes. It's already over $1 million, Trev. Unreal.
Yeah, very good. It's a lot of dollars there. It's going to... it's very nice to see. Like you saw what the last game during the intermission, the jackpots are just continuing to grow. So it's going for a great cause, and it's all for Benny. So it's very good to see. You love to see it there, Tommy.
Well said. Well said. All right, let's see some of the feedback that we've been getting so far as the Oilers and Blues get set to tangle for the first time this year. It is the return of Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. Troll getting in there says. I still would have signed both of those guys and then either traded them for assets or traded one of them or both of them for veteran guys away. To lose your 2 best prospects for nothing is ridiculous. And then Troll adds, Holloway's career would have turned out better if he stayed in Edmonton and continued to learn from McDavid and Draisaitl. He won't win anything in St. Louis. Corey B. Oh, boy. Corey B says, number 1 on the score sheet, number 1 in your heart. And that is number 2 on Corey, or number 92 on Corey B's back. He is showing off his new Podkolzin jersey.
Looks good.
Good. 3rd, 4th line guy right there. Corey B, well done. Corey B appreciates his hard-working players. Very good. I respect that. D-Rock says, should have signed them before adding on Skinner and Arvidsson, then would have had to worry about the offer sheets being, or wouldn't have to worry about the offer sheets being offered.
I feel like it's safe to say,
yeah.
Sorry, Tommy, don't mean to cut you off there, but I feel like it's safe to say that didn't cross their mind at all. Hey, like they were not expecting offer sheets. It's very seldom. It was Jesper Kotkaniemi back in 2021. Before that, Sebastian Aho. And then there was a 6-year gap, 2013 Ryan O'Reilly. So that doesn't happen very often. You can't think that they were thought this was an option or a possibility. Hey,
I don't think they expected it
for sure.
Or anticipated it. Yeah. So interesting. And I'm looking at the poll again. It's 53% that said no, they wouldn't have signed them.
Very surprised by that, Tommy.
I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought it'd be overwhelmingly yes. But I think, the more you chew on it, the factors, cap implications, I think that has certainly made itself abundantly clear with those who have voted in the YouTube poll right now. We do have confirmed lines, and it's exactly what I had before. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Kapanen, Henrique between Janmark and Skinner, and then Derek Ryan with Corey Perry and Connor Brown, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak with Emberson, Stu Skinner getting the nod in goal. I love how Timber Woodsman just chimes in that the Leaves have just lost 5-2 to Pittsburgh. Tristan Jarry gets the win for the Pens. And, that's too bad. Nobody feels bad for Toronto.
I think that might have messed up with Belzy's picks.
Well, Belzy pumping his own tires after going slightly above 50% last week with his Saturday picks on Hello Hockey. But whatever, Belzy. He was pretty confident today. He was giving me the gears for taking who did favorites. I take? I took Philly. I took Philly to win, and they lost in overtime. He's giving me crap for that. So way to go, Belzy. Good picks. Good picks.
Yeah, he had all favorites in that one, but the Leaves down 5-2 in a tough one.
Oh, that sucks. That's too bad. Washington up 4-2 on Montreal. Minute 56 left to play. Habs net empty. There's your update from some out-of-town scores. Actually, let's recap some more. Boston did beat Philly 4-3 in OT. I was close. Utah 5-2 winners over Buffalo. The Sabres struggles certainly continue. Winnipeg 4-2 winners over Chicago. Anders Sorensen making his debut behind the bench for the Blackhawks. First Swede to ever coach an NHL team. Same result for the Blackhawks. They lose. The Islanders 4-3 winners over Carolina. Florida 3-1 winners over San Jose. The Avs beat the Red Wings 2-1. And Ottawa's up 3-0 on Nashville. You've got the Kings leading the Wild 2-0 after 2. Edmonton, St. Louis rounding out an 11-game night. All right. We've been talking about Holloway and Broberg. Why don't we hear from Holloway and Broberg? If you haven't seen it or heard it, they spoke yesterday following the Blues practice here in Edmonton. Trev, I'll let you pick which one we go to first.
Oh, man, this is tricky because, I'm very intrigued in this because I haven't seen either of these. Also, do we have time to listen to both there, Tommy?
We do. We've got lots of time.
Sweet. Let's go. I want to hear from Philip Broberg first. So this is Blues defenseman Philip Broberg, ahead of tonight's game.
City, walking into the other room, but back into the building. What's it all been like for you?
No, it's been great. Obviously I had a good time here in Edmonton, and I got drafted here, and I enjoy my time here. So no, it's good to be back.
Looks, it was going so well for you in St. Louis. You got hurt, but it looks like you picked up right where you left off. I guess how are you feeling now? I think it's been 3 games.
Yeah, obviously I was injured for a little bit, so it takes a little bit to get back and rhythm and everything, but it started to feel better.
How do you feel like your game has progressed the most at this point?
I think just confident-wise, you just gotta trust yourself out there and want to make plays. And I think taking some steps defensively. So you just want to be hard to play against.
Is it just a matter of allowing yourself to do that, being more confident with the puck and taking those extra steps? Is that the ultimate breakthrough there?
I think it's just being confident. I think that's where it starts with, to trust yourself and, just try to make plays and play your game.
So how does having a steady spot on the left side, how does that help you?
No, I think it's been good. I played with Falker for all my games before I got injured. So, built some chemistry there for sure. So it was good there. And then I played with Branko here lately. So, no, it's been good so far.
Here, though, you're playing right side, left side. I know you played right side in Europe, too, and some of the minors. What was that like, moving back and forth from right side to left side?
I think it's hard for any player that goes from left to right in different positions or spots, I guess. But, I played some right-sided in Sweden, and, I'm comfortable on the right side, but, might be more comfortable on the left for sure.
So when the offer sheet came, were you surprised?
Well, off sheets are so rare. You never know that it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. So, of course, you're surprised, but here we are.
What was that week like, waiting to see where you were going to end up? That's got to be a little interesting, I guess.
Obviously it was a stressful week. Didn't know what's going to happen, but, you just try to stay off your phone and stay off the internet. But, now that's over and you just looked forward.
Did you think you had a proper chance?
There you go. There's Philip Broberg. He looks a little bit relieved. Dare I say happy, Trev? He's having a good start to his career with the Blues. 12 points in 15 games, +7, 6 penalty minutes, averaging 20-38 a night, playing with Colton Parayko. That's a pretty good situation, making $4.58 million a year.
Yeah, he's doing really good, Tommy. Like he's doing good. It's just looking at the nasty chat right now. We got a boo from T-Man. We got Punk. I dislike him a lot, LOL. So yeah, he's going to hear it tonight, Tommy, I think. I was at the first game, obviously growing up. Taylor Hall was my favorite player, kind of made me an Oilers fan. And when he got traded his first game back, that was the only game I've ever watched where a player has come back, and I've been there for that one. And it was spicy. I know he got the cheers there for a little bit, and then as soon as the video was done, he got the boos, and then it followed with a Cassian. Zach Cassian tried getting after him for a little bit there, so I don't expect that for tonight. But it was interesting. I don't know what I was expecting him to say, but it wasn't that. I don't know.
I remember that night when Taylor came back and him and Cass got into it at the end. And I used to have to do these post-game interviews on the ice or in the bench down the tunnel. So I'd be waiting there right at the end of the game. And I remember there is a curtain that blocks off the two teams, but it was open and Taylor and Cass were there. And they were screaming at each other. So Taylor was mad because he thought Cass took a cheap shot at him. And then I think Cass was in a competitive way, not apologizing, but just kind of defending himself and two former teammates. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
You guys will be all right.
Yeah, they'll be all right. The behind the scenes, I remember Taylor Hall got him with an elbow, and then the next thing you know, Cassian was all bloodied up there. So he got him pretty. Yeah, he got him pretty good there. He actually did. But I'm curious, Tommy, just for you. Obviously, you've been around the locker room. You kind of know the ins and outs and everything. And so I'm just curious, when Philip Broberg is walking down, Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, they're walking down, and they see Connor McDavid, they see Leon Draisaitl. If they say hi, is there bitterness, do you think? Is there any bitterness between the players, or it's business is business? They kind of just...
I don't think there is bitterness. I don't think... And those were new, young guys,
right?
That were kind of just starting to get comfortable with the group. And they were presented with a really lucrative opportunity, and they jumped at it. I think now, especially these guys, they understand the business really quickly. when they get into it. So no, I don't think there's anger or frustration. Now, if it was like a player that was supposed to be a leader eventually, top 6 star in the making, and he said, F Edmonton, I'm out of here, I think it would be different. But those two, Holloway and Broberg, they were kind of left as the final pieces to be taken care of after the free agency and all of that. And they were left kind of, floating in the wind, if you will. And they were presented with a pretty nice opportunity. So I don't think there is that animosity there. I wouldn't anticipate there being.
Yeah, that's kind of where I lean towards as well. Like at the end of the day, they're looking out for themselves. Yes, it does hurt. It does hurt the Oilers, but they got some cash and they're set. They're set, Tommy.
Yeah. Yes, they are. One guy that got some cash and is set, just over $2 million a year, is Dylan Holloway, former Oiler, making his return to Edmonton. Let's hear from him now.
How do you feel about being back in the familiarity
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's definitely a weird feeling being on this side of it, but I'm excited for tomorrow, and it should be fun.
You told Jeremy Rutherford, my colleague, that you think you might get.
Oh, sorry.
It's just maybe natural. Is that still how you're feeling, or do you think there might be some good cheers for it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really too sure about the fan response, but I got nothing but love for the fans of Edmonton, the people of Edmonton, and they're such a passionate, knowledgeable fan base, and that was why it was so fun to play here. So, I'm just excited for whatever response they have, and excited for the game tomorrow.
How tough was it to leave?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. I mean, anytime we went so far as a team, and we're 2 shots away from winning the Stanley Cup. So, we ended up getting pretty tight with a lot of the guys, a lot of the staff, and it was just such an incredible run that we went on, and it was definitely tough leaving. But with that being said, I've been really happy with my situation here in St. Louis, and getting some great opportunity. The coaches, teammates, everybody's been great. So,
Do you think you would have got the same opportunity here when they went out and signed Skinner and Arvidsson and such like that you're getting in St. Louis?
I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball, so I'm not sure. But all I try and do is just work as hard as I can, and any opportunity I do get, I try and make the most of it.
I don't think anyone was begrudging you signing the offer sheet. We all would have done the same thing, but were you a little surprised that the Oilers didn't match, or what was that week like, not knowing what was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. It was kind of dark from both sides during that whole week, so I didn't hear anything, so I wasn't really too sure. I was trying to make sense of it all and work out the logistics and everything. But at the end of the day, the decision was made, and like I said earlier, I'm really happy right now with my situation in St. Louis, and just excited to try and help the team win tomorrow.
Do you think you've turned the corner now as an NHL player who can score goals and put up points?
I'm trying to. It's been good as of late, but I just got to keep grinding, keep working, keep shooting pucks, and just try and do everything I can to help the team win.
What's this transition been like for you? I know you played in St. Louis some wings, some center. Did a little center in Edmonton, but not very much.
Yeah.
What's this been like for you as you're trying to kind of find your role or whatever here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. Like, anytime you go to a new team, you kind of try and, fit in as best you can, and try and, I guess, showcase, skill set and kind of what kind of role you fill in, I guess. But, yeah, I was playing center there for a bit, and then I was playing wing. We had Tomer was hurt there for a bit, so that's when I was playing center, but now he's back, so back on the wing. But, I take pride in the ability to, be whatever position the coach wants me to be. So
Parents can't see you quite as readily.
Yeah.
Now that you're in St. Louis, is that a bit of a hassle for the parents?
A little bit. It's definitely a bit of a change. I was actually fortunate enough they were able to come down. We had a long homestand there in November, so they were able to come down for all of that. So it was great to see them there. And then they'll be coming for the Winter Classic too, right after Christmas.
How many tickets did you have to get for yesterday's game?
Not actually too many. I just had a couple buddies, some family and whatnot, but not too many. I got some family coming up tomorrow too. So.
All right, that was Dylan Holloway, the former Oiler, now a member of the Blues. 8 goals, 8 assists in 27 games so far this season. Spoke to the media yesterday, but good to see his reaction and thoughts. And it's working out okay for him in St. Louis. The Blues obviously coming off a 4-3 overtime victory in Calgary. Edmonton with a nice win the other night over Columbus, 6-3. So both teams feeling good about their games right now. Really quickly, portions of this hour brought to you by Hudson's, Canada's Pub. You're invited to watch any Oilers game at Hudson's. They do game day specials, and on Thursdays, they have their all-day happy hour. They have $6 house draft featuring the new Blueberry Blonde Ale. Book your reservation now at hudsonscanadaspub.com. Holiday party, perhaps, or just come down. Great spot. We'll be back at the Bourbon Street location later on this month. All right, let's get to some texts. Trev, feel free to hop on there. I see Big Uke and Norman, a combine, are in Busby. They're sending in pictures to me. Says, have a good pre and post, Tommy and Trev. Currently having our practice drinks before Busby, and pregame shots are flowing. Big Uke and Norman, a combine, having some fun. Thanks, boys. Enjoy your night. Be safe. This one, that one's from earlier. Troll getting in there. Timber Woodsman says, Tommy, I miss seeing you in Cambo. I miss dressing in camo, I guess, Timber Woodsman, but it's nice that we got season 5 of Bozone live under wraps. It was really good, a lot of fun. And then I was looking at the nasty chat, and people were enjoying story time from me being stuck underneath the tunnel.
TSN's insider Chris Johnson has actually become a fan of the Bozone after Friday. He told us that he was watching a week ago. We told him that Tom Gazzola is hosting it. And then a week goes along. This Friday, he said he loved every second of it, Tommy. He watched it, and he cracked some cold ones, and he loved to see what you had to do out there. It was good.
I almost believe him, and that is oddly surprising. I don't take CJ for a hunting type, but that's pretty funny. I love how you guys got him on that, and he actually watched. But great show, great crew at Wild TV. Ryan Kohler, Celeste Chaders, Lloyd Lewis. Great working with them, among the many other fantastic. Louis DeBrusque is one of the hunters. He was also my co-host, as well as Jason Moss. So yeah, thank you, Timber Woodsman. I do have the camo. I can wear it if I need to, but just not on this show. So yeah, appreciate that very much. All right, Trev, final thoughts from you, and then I'll quickly update the Blues lineup and give the Oilers lineup.
Final thoughts from YouTube, Trev. Yes, I am pumped.
Yes,
I've been pumped all day long. I can't wait to watch tonight's game. I think the Oilers offense is back. We talked about it on Friday. 12 of the last 14 wins, the Oilers have scored more than 4 goals, I believe. And so the offense is back. And even just looking at McDavid, the stats that he's been able to put up, his first 11 games played, he had 10 points. His last 12 games played, he has 25. So Connor McDavid's back. The Oilers rely heavily on his offense, but it's 5-on-5 right now. And I like to think that the power play is finally starting to find its groove, Tommy. I've noticed it a lot. Maybe the numbers aren't quite there yet, but they look, from just the eye test, from what I've seen, they look significantly better from the first 20, 15 games there. And that's it. It's not saying much, because it was tough to watch that power play at times, especially when they are, historically speaking, the best power play of all time. So the power play is back, the offense is back, and I expect that to continue tonight. The first line the other day looked great. And I think that's going to carry through the second line, third line as well. Jeff Skinner got a goal and an assist. Adam Henrique as well with 2 apples in the last game. So the offense is back. This is a very good, they don't seem like a good team, but they always play the Oilers pretty close. The Oilers are 2-3 against the Blues in their last 5, and they're all like 1-goal games. So I expect it's going to be a close game, but I think there's going to be some goals tonight, Tommy, and I can't wait. So that's my thoughts on tonight's game.
Very nice, Trev. The Oilers power play has crept up to 19th in the NHL going into action tonight. 19.4%, 13 for 67, 2 for 5 the other night against Columbus. The PK, meanwhile, much, much better, but it's only in 27th at 73%. I mean, it's better than the 32nd it was at about a month ago. One shorty there. And then the Blues power play, 28th in the NHL at 15.9%, 10 for 63. And then the PK for the Blues, 20th in the NHL at 79.2%. No shorties for the Blues yet this season. Here's your lineup for St. Louis. You got Thomas between Neighbors and Buchnevich, Shen with Saad and Kyrou, Sundqvist with Holloway and Bolduc, Faxa between Toropchenko and Walker, On defense, Broberg with Parenko, Suter with Falk, Perunovic with Kessel, Binnington starts in goal. As for the Oilers, same lineup that got the win against the Jackets the other night. And you're going, who the hell is that, Tom? Well, McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. That line had a good night. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Kapanen. Henrique centering Janmark and Skinner. Ryan with Perry and Brown. Ekholm paired up with Bouchard. Nurse with Stetcher. Kulak with Emerson. No Travis Dermott. Skinner, the start in goal. All right, that's going to wrap things up right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Lots of fun. YouTube Trev for old time's sake back with us, filling in for Hernan Salas. And then we've got Joaquin Gage as our game analyst. The boys will be back for the post-game show following the Oilers and the Blues. Huge thank you to everybody who watched, especially everybody who listened. Like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Enjoy the Oilers versus the Blues. Mix in a water, why don't you? And we'll talk to you on the post-game show. Ciao for now.